Welcome to CA Patter's prediction show again, and just quickly to tell you, this is the game of the week being shown now, Leeds versus Leicester City. That game is on Saturday, 12:15 kick-off. It's going to be a belting game, so I would definitely try and watch it if you can. But this week, first of all, going to kick things off with seeing how I did last week's predictions, and we'll start off with Ipswich versus QPR. I predicted 2-1 and was pretty close. Can't deny that. Yes, QPR did score 3 before Ipswich scored 1, but it was 3-1 to QPR, so the correct score at least, but one too many goals for the winning team. Then I also predicted Cardiff to beat West Ham 1-0. Well, that one was a bit wrong. West Ham ended up winning the game 2-0, which I didn't think would happen, but you know, that happened. Then I also predicted Everton 2, Norwich 0, and that one was spot on. 2-0 win for Everton. I enjoyed watching it. I don't know if anyone else did, but I enjoyed seeing the scores 2-0 and a spot on result on that one. Then came to the one which I was more wrong than ever before on anything. Fulham 1, Sunderland 1 was the prediction. And we all know Sunderland ended up winning this game 4-1 and proving me completely wrong over how good any of their players are and anything. Then I also predicted Southampton 2, West Brom 1. I got the right result, the right winning team, but only one goal was in this game at 1-0. A bit disappointing, but still, it's done now, and Southampton did win the game, so pretty good. Then also predicted Spurs 2, Crystal Palace 0, and I got that one spot on. Absolutely correct. That's two games correct in this one, 2 right results, and 2 games which I didn't do very well. But also, we have the golden minute, the magic minute, whatever you want to call it, the golden goal, the first goal of the day. I predicted the 23rd minute, and the first goal was scored by Everton, by Gareth Barry, on the 23rd minute. So not only have I got a few correct scores, but I've got the correct minute, absolutely spot on correct minute. I was completely shocked about being able to get that right, but I've done it, got the right minute, and that's something that really does make me quite pleased with what I've done on that one. But now then, it's time to talk about this weekend coming up. This Saturday, the 6 games that I'm predicting. No, it hasn't got Leicester or Leeds in it. That's just showing you what's going on. But the first game I will be trying to predict for you, they're all the 3 o'clock kickoffs. I probably should have told you that last week when I started it, but it's 3 o'clock kickoffs that I do. This one's a 12:15 with the Leeds and Leicester. But let's kick things off with a bit of Championship football. Well, I think some of the best football was actually played down there. But the game between Derby and Brighton is the game I'll be trying to predict on. And this was a little bit harder for me, because I haven't really followed either of these teams lately. I know Derby have got the new manager in Steve McLaren, the Wally with a brolly. Yes, he's back again into the Championship, but seems to be doing a pretty good job. Brighton, I can't even tell you who the manager is now, since Gus Poyet's left and had that big problems with the board and everyone else, blah, blah, blah. Finding out that he was sacked through being on TV. But I can't decide which way the games are going to go, because they're both pretty good sides. But I think I'm going to have to go with the team that's probably the most in form and go with a 2-0 win to Derby, especially as they're home as well. So getting 2 in front of their fans, Steve McLaren showing how good of a manager he can be, even though he didn't do it with England. But yeah, 2-0 win to Derby is the prediction for this one. But that one is a real stab in the dark, and I don't really know exactly. Can't tell you many of the players. that actually play for the club. So, I should really look into these teams more. But I know Derby have been in a bit of form lately, and I can't even tell you what Brighton have done. I haven't really liked them since they beat Newcastle 2 years in a row, knocking us out of the FA Cup twice. But oh well. 2-0 win. That's my final prediction, which will take us nicely into the Premier League now, where we'll have Crystal Palace versus Stoke City. Now, with Palace losing 2-0 last week and not being able to remember what Stoke did last week. Oh, Stoke were in that fantastic 5-3 game with Liverpool. But this isn't Liverpool. This is Crystal Palace they're playing. Away again. I was going to say it would be 1-1. But now I'm remembering that they got that game against Liverpool, but they've always done well against Liverpool. That's the problem, and they haven't been in form this year. Palace haven't been in form yet. Palace are bottom of the table. Got some good players in. Are they going to sign anyone else before the game? That's an issue. But Stoke did play absolutely fantastically against Liverpool. That's got to be said. I think they did play quite well. But they still came out with a 5-3 loss. But how many times do you score 3 goals and lose a game, eh? That's just ridiculous. So I think, after having said 1-1, that I'm going to have to change my prediction to I don't think they'll score 3 again, but I think it may be only 1-0. They might keep Palace out because Palace didn't score last week, so they might be wanting to score again. But yeah, I am going to go with 1-0 to Stoke now. That is the prediction for this game now. 1-0 Stoke City. After last week, they'll do really well, but I don't think they'll score as many goals again. Always seems to happen. You play well one week and you're not going to get the same amount of goals again the next week. Then I've got the next game for you, which is Norwich City versus Hull City. Now, Norwich have just lost in the FA Cup to Fulham. 3-0, I think it was. But Hull City lost last weekend to Manchester United, I think it was. I can't remember if it was Manchester United, but yeah, well, but they did lose last weekend. Norwich have just brought in a good player on loan. Of course, I'd say he's a good player. He's a Newcastle player, but they've just brought him in on loan. He can play in the middle. He can play on the wide. He can play left or right back. Probably prefer right back. He's going to play back there, even though he doesn't like to play back in defence. But he can play either wing and also slot into the middle very nicely. And that man is the Spider-Man, Jonas Gutierrez. Fantastic player. I think they can definitely... It will definitely help them survive. Whether they will actually survive is another matter. But Norwich versus Hull City, ain't going to be much in it. Ain't going to be much in it at all. And I'm going to go with 0-0. A score draw. Nothing, a blackout. Nothing happening. Well, it's going to be one of those exciting 0-0 draws where no goals go in. Can't really say nothing happens because exciting score draw isn't nothing, is it? There's something going on. Yeah, there'll be lots of shots, but it will end 0-0 in this game, and both teams will pick up a point. Now we're going to the big teams now, and this is one where I can start having a nice little rant over the last week. Manchester City versus Cardiff City. Now, we all know what happened last weekend, going in the favour of Man City, which was given offside. So obviously, Cardiff ain't going to get a goal because no one can score against Manchester City now, apparently, because apparently I think everything's going to be put as offside, isn't it? So, seeing as Man City's new revival luck and bribing refs sort of thing, yep, that's right, I said it. How frustrating is it to be able to say that I think that they're definitely going to win this game? No, to be honest, they're at the Etihad, of course they're going to win it. They're absolutely amazing at the Etihad. But I still want to say that I can't believe that goal was not given. It would have changed the whole game. I know it changed the game anyway because Newcastle came out and really pushed hard for it afterwards, but it would have changed the game, and I don't think Man City would have got the win if that goal had standed, and it should have standed. But I'm going to finish with that one now. I wanted to get one off my chest. I have sort of done so now. I can't keep ranting because I've got to predict this one between Man City and Cardiff. But yes, if Man City get back to playing properly, and I don't think it's going to be quite a game like they had against Newcastle. They did have control of the game for quite a while before the disallowed goal, on which Newcastle really come back out at them, wanting to get the equaliser. I don't think Cardiff will be able to do that. I don't think Cardiff can contain them as much as as other teams higher up can do. It's going to be a very tough day for Cardiff City to come out and do anything from this game, I think. So, I am probably going to say Man City are going to win. At the Etihad, they're too good at the Etihad now to do anything else. And I reckon it's going to be 3-0 to Man City. 3 goals going one way. They're too good not to get anything from this game. They're too good to let in a goal against Cardiff, really. I know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's there, but I think it's over now. The honeymoon period is over for him, really. Especially coming up against Man City, who are challenging for the title this year again. So, yes, Man City 3, Cardiff 0. Now we'll talk about West Ham versus Newcastle United. I hate trying to predict Newcastle scores because I don't want to say that Newcastle are going to lose, but then I don't want to predict they're going to win if they're not going to, so I'm trying to remain partial on it. Last week they had a fantastic game against Man City. The second half in particular was absolutely superb. Came out pushing everything. Every player put in 110% and did fantastic. And if Newcastle can play like that, I don't see the game going any other way than a win for Newcastle. But they do have problems in they do have those minutes or periods in a game where they're not in the game at all. They really do give the opposition a chance to come forward, and that if they can cut that out, then they'll be a very good side to challenge anything. But at the moment, they do have those periods where they just sort of heads down and let the opposition come at them. West Ham, though, did get a very, very nice 2-0 win last week over Cardiff. So they're going to be a little bit more pumped up after that win, with a chance to come back and win. And they also have Andy Carroll, who is back, and he actually said he was very happy to be back for West Ham this week after not playing this season. Whether he won't make a difference against Newcastle, because he never does make a difference against Newcastle, although this could be the one time he does. But I don't think his heart's ever in the game against Newcastle, because in his heart he is still a Newcastle boy. But West Ham will get a goal. West Ham will score 1. But I think Newcastle will grab 2. Probably a goal from Remy getting a goal, and probably Kibai as well getting a goal. The 2 informed players for the club, really. And it will be West Ham 1, Newcastle 2. So now that we've spoken about 5 games already, we're now going to just I'm now going to predict the game which I think is more the main event sort of thing, the main game of 3 o'clock, Arsenal versus Fulham. I don't think it's ever classed as a derby, but it is a London derby nonetheless. For me, that is a derby. There is going to be something there that both teams are going to want to win because it is a local derby and it is a London derby. I like saying derby at the moment for some reason. I'm not sure why. But anyway, Arsenal versus Fulham. Arsenal, I've already been getting plaudits all week from different pundits anyway. I couldn't think of the word then, but they've been getting a lot of applause from pundits for their game on Monday where they played absolutely superb. The way they managed to get stuck in on when they're playing away and hold on to those important 3 points. But they are at home this time, in a lot of good form, and playing well and scoring goals. That's the main thing, which is why they went top. I think they're back top of the table now anyway. It's why they're back top of the table. So I don't really see Fulham knocking them off that pedestal just yet. Fulham, though, who haven't been playing that badly, did have that massive blip last week. 4-1 loss against Sunderland. But I think they can pick themselves back up. I think they'll put in a good showing, nothing to lose in this game. And I do think they'll get one at the Emirates. 1 goal. But Arsenal will score 2 or 3. But my final prediction on it, I will have to go with probably only 2 goals. I don't think they're as great up front as they used to be. If they can maybe sign one more striker, then they would probably be back to Unstoppables again. The Invincibles, whatever they were called before. But do think it was going to be Arsenal 2, Fulham 1. So just quickly, to recap those little things, do reckon Derby 2, Brighton 0, Palace 0, Stoke 1, Norwich 0, Hull 0, Man City 3, Cardiff 0, West Ham 1, Newcastle 2, and Arsenal 2, Fulham 1. That is the predictions for this week. As you know, I did quite well last week. 2 right results, 2 right scores, perfect scores, and 2 very wrong results all the way around. And I also got the right minute last week. So, this week, gonna do the magic minute again. But this week, I'm gonna go a little bit earlier. I think there'll be a goal earlier this week. Especially probably Man City getting it. I think it'll be Man City. But this week, I'm going to have to go with the magic minute being the 17th minute. That's what I'm going for. 17th minute goal from any one of them teams getting the first goal. That is what I think it will be. But thanks for watching today, guys. We'll be back next week with another predictions. And I hope you enjoy this weekend's football. It should be good. And hopefully you guys do well with predictions as well. Bye.
I remember times when I never shined. It was so hard to believe. I didn't want to be lost in life. I came out from underneath. I felt the weight of the world crashing down on me. But now I'm looking out, and it's my victory.